I am going to surprise my husband by making, for the very first time, his grandmother's pasta sauce recipe. He has requested me to do meatballs for dinner, so I'm going to surprise him. I got the recipe. I've never made it before. It seems too simple and too good to be true, but he's always talked about how growing up his grandmother's tomato pasta sauce was just the best he's ever had in his entire life. And as much as I've tried to experiment and cook all the time and make, I mean, I am Italian. That is a big part of my nationality. And I grew up with homemade sauce and all of that, but it's just not the same as what you're used to growing up. So I want to give him a comfort treat today. I hope it turns out all right. To me, it is just like the most simple recipe I have ever seen. And so we're just going to try it out and see if he notices that it is his grandmother's recipe. Here we go. The recipe is, for each can of tomato paste that you use, you're going to add water to it. So you're going to fill this up with water twice. So for every can, you add 2 cans of water. I am going to be using 6 cans today. It's all in there. All that chunky tomato paste. So it's 6 cans and then 2 cans of water per can. So I'm going to turn the heater on, the burner, and we're going to mix this up so it becomes a better texture. While the sauce is heating up, I'm going to make the meatballs. This is everything that I add. I don't really have a precise recipe. I just kind of add until the texture feels right, I guess. So I have 3 cloves of garlic. I'm going to mince these. I add an egg. I use the hot pork sausage, 1 pound of ground beef, salt, minced onion. Normally I use real onion, but I don't have an onion right now. Black pepper, Italian seasoning, and Italian breadcrumbs, and this cheese, Italian style cheese, just a mixture. I'm going to add it all to a bowl, mix it all together, and then start rolling my meatballs. Well, we're going to mix that up. And I put all the ingredients away. I did save the salt and the pepper because we're going to be adding this to our sauce mixture. That's what the recipe calls for. It looks like it's come to a pretty good consistency. So we're going to add salt, pepper, and it also calls for a pinch of sugar. The recipe also calls for Baileys. And the funny thing is in true Italian, Sicilian fashion, it doesn't say how many, it doesn't say how much salt, how much pepper. However, you just kind of use your best judgment, I guess, and that's kind of how I've always been brought up doing recipes, so I love that that's what his grandma's recipe is also. So we're going to add some of these Baileys, and then the last thing that the recipe calls for is grease from the meat. So once we mix up this meat, make the meatballs, we're going to add the leftover grease from the meat to this mixture. All the meatballs are rolled up. I just have to roll them in some Italian breadcrumbs. Time to make the meatballs. I swear my phone was just listening to me talking about not knowing precise recipes and just adding a pinch of this, a sprinkle of that. And then I go on my Instagram and look at this meme that pops up. That's the truth. That is such, oh my gosh, that is so true. So I am done making everything. I added the meatballs to the sauce. We're just gonna let this simmer on low for the next couple of hours before he gets home. And right before Will gets home, I'll make some noodles. Will is on his way home, so I am going to make his favorite style noodle, which is this rotini style noodle here. The water is almost boiling. We've got, oh yeah, it actually smells really good. That's been cooking for almost 4 hours. It means a lot to me to be able to give my husband a dish that he has known since his childhood. I think that it's really important as a wife to carry on those traditional recipes, to meet up with your mother-in-law, your father-in-law. If the grandparents are still around, meet up with them and jot down these recipes. Your in-laws will really appreciate it also, knowing that you want to continue to carry on those recipes.